Hi everyone, my name is Grace Kemp, and this is third in a series entitled Will Believers Go Through the Tribulation? In the Old Testament, God established animal sacrifices, and by the shedding of the blood of the animal, the sins were temporarily covered. Jesus, when he came, died once for all, and the animals were representative of Christ's death on the cross. The animal sacrifices were commemorated through most of Jewish history. And when the church age began, God established what we call the Lord's Supper, or the communion, as a remembrance feast to keep every believer of the church age in tune and remembering that the blood and the bread, the wine and the bread, represent the death of Christ. And he said these words to his disciples: "This ye do in remembrance of me till I come." So even today, 2,000 years later, most churches will have a communion service to remember Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. Now, in the tribulation, the animal sacrifices have been resumed in the third temple. Never in the history have animal sacrifices been celebrated side by side with the communion service. They're mutually exclusive. We don't have two symbols for the same thing. So that leads me to believe that since we know that animal sacrifices will take place in the tribulation, that the communion service as we know it is over. Therefore, we conclude that the Lord has come, because he said the communion service would continue till he comes. It's no longer being practiced. Bottom line, Christ has come. And then we have the candlesticks. In Revelation 1:20, the 7 golden candlesticks are the 7 churches. Okay, so they were represented as 7 menorahs, shining light into the world, the purpose of the church. When the 2 witnesses come, and I believe they come down the day of the rapture, and I'll explain that further later, the 2 witnesses, we know one is Elijah, the other one is possibly Enoch or possibly Moses. They're called, these are the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. Now, if we have 7 candlesticks in Revelation 1 representing the churches, and then we have the additional 2 candlesticks, meaning the 2 witnesses, to shed the truth and light during the tribulation, then we should have 9 candlesticks, correct? The churches and the 2 witnesses. Nope, there's not 9, there's only 2. These are the 2 candlesticks. Now, it seems that therefore the candlesticks that were actually the churches are no longer with us. The churches are gone. The church of Jesus Christ, the body of Christ, is gone, replaced by the 2 candlesticks who will preach the gospel of the kingdom in the early part of the tribulation. So we have the problem of the candlesticks. And in the church age, it says that Christ is standing in the midst of the churches. So the head of all the local churches is Christ. However, in the tribulation, in the 2 witnesses, they are watched over by the God of the earth. God in heaven keeps an eye on them. There's no sign of Christ in the midst of those 2 candlesticks. So obviously something has changed here. And in the church age, the believers are commissioned to preach the gospel throughout the world, and that's Mark 16:15. Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel. The believers of the tribulation, of this age, the church age, are commissioned to preach the gospel. However, in the Old Testament, as well as in the tribulation, salvation is of the Jews. Salvation is of the Jews. The 2 witnesses are Jews, the 144,000 are Jews, and those are the ones that will proclaim the gospel of the kingdom throughout the world. So again, the situation has changed. Please stay for our next segment on this same topic. Will believers go through the tribulation? God bless you.